Hi everyone, I'm Kishore. Today we are going to see about RL78 microcontroller architecture. Introduction. Features of RL78 MCU family, architecture, instruction set, classification of registers, and the total memory map. Now we are going to see about the introduction. Basically, what is a microcontroller? A microcontroller consists of a processor core for executing instructions, memory for storing data, and supporting peripheral components which add functionality or improve performance. RL78 is a 16-bit microcontroller which delivers ultra-low power consumption, enhanced performance, high integration, and an extensive range of powerful peripheral functions. Now let's see about the features of RL78 MCU family. The RL78 family is classified into three cores: S1, S2, and S3. It has a three-stage pipeline CISC architecture. CISC means complex instruction set computer. It has an address space of 1 megabyte. And S1 core supports 71 types of instructions. S2 core supports 75, and S3 core supports 81 respectively. Data allocation is of the type little endian, which means that LSB bits stored before the MSB bits, and it has 8 general purpose registers. Now we are going to look up at the architecture. RL78 instruction set architecture. Basically, what is an instruction set architecture means? A processor instruction set architecture defines the data types, registers, addressing modes, and instructions available to an assembly language programmer or compiler's code generator. The RL78 ISA supports multiple data types, that is of bit. Each and every bit we can access, or we can access in a byte wise, or we can access in a word wise as well. This is the basic architecture block. Here we can see code memory, instruction decoder, instruction address generation, program counter, register file which is connected to the ALU, and the ALU has two MUX parts, and it has data memory, internal RAM and flash, data address generation unit. Now let's see about the instruction set. There are general instructions for data movement and loading, addition and subtraction, increment and decrement, logical operations, shift and rotate, conditional and unconditional branching, subroutine call and return, and data stack manipulations. And there are also processor control instructions for selecting the register bank, enabling or disabling interrupt, and halting or stopping the processor. This is the basic instruction set. For data transfer, we are going to have for 1-bit data transfers, we have command as MOV1, and for 8-bit data transfers, we have command of MOV XEH, 1B, etc. And for 16-bit, we have MOVW, 1W, CLRW. Like that, for every type of operations, we are going to have each and every specific command. For increment or decrement, we are going to have INC, DEC. Shift and rotate, we are going to have SHR, shift and rotate right. SHL stands for shift and rotate left, and SAR stands for shift arithmetic right. ROR stands for rotate right, like that. And then we have call and return. Then we have multiply and divide. Even multiply instructions too we have, which is not supported in 805 and all, 8051 microcontrollers. But here we have multiply and divide instructions as well. Stack operations as well. Push and pop, move W, like that. Now we can classify registers, general. So first type of register is general purpose registers. Second type of registers is controlled registers. Third type of registers is special function registers. Now we are going to see about the general purpose registers. So every microcontroller has general purpose registers. The RL78 ISA has 4 banks of general purpose registers. Each bank contains 8 registers, so which means there are 32 registers. So 2 bits in the program status word. Program status word is another register we can discuss later. 2 bits in the program status word register can specify which bank we are going to use. Which means that, so we have 4 banks, right? So only 2 bits are enough to map all the 4 banks. That's what it means. So the general purpose registers are used for sources and destinations of ALU operation, and some may also be used as pointers to memories. Also, there are 8-bit registers X, A, C, B, E, D, L, H. We are naming it as this way. And if we combine this as a 16-bit registers, we are going to combine X and A, B and C, D and E, H and L. So it forms a register pair. Control registers, program counter. It is a 20-bit register that holds the address information of the next program to be executed. PC is automatically incremented according to the number of bytes of instruction to be fetched. When a branch instruction is executed, immediate data and register contents are set. The program status word. This program status word is 8-bit long and has control flags and status flags. See, we can see that each and every bit what it indicates. Like IE 8th bit is of interrupt enable. The functionality of IE bit is that it controls the masking, enabling of maskable interrupts. When set to 1, maskable interrupts can be serviced. When clear to 0, maskable interrupts cannot be serviced. Then bit 5 and bit 3 is of RBES0 and RBES1. So we have discussed previously that 2 bits are required for mapping the 4 banks, right? So that is those 2 pins. And ISP0 and ISP1 control the priority of acknowledgeable interrupts. And Z pin there, it contains 0 flag. It is set to 1 if the previous operation result was 0, or else it will scale to 0. Carry flag. Carry is set to 1 by an add instruction which overflows, or subtract instruction which underflows. A rotate instruction also loads carry with a shift out value. Bit manipulation instruction use it as an accumulator. Auxiliary carry. It is set if an operation result in a carry from or borrowed to bit 3. Special function registers. Register CS and ES are 4 bits long each and can be used to extend up to 16-bit registers to 20 bits, allowing access to the full 1 megabit of address space. So 2 power 16 is of 65,536. Then 2 power 20 is 1048,756, which is the whole memory space. So if we extend those 4 bits, we can access the whole memory space in terms of mapping. So CS is used for instruction addresses, while ES is used for data addresses. CS means code segment, ES means extra segment. The stack pointer is another special function register. It is used for the stack based addressing mode. It is 16 bits long and bit 0 is always clear to 0. So only even addresses can be accessed. So SP points to the last used memory location of the stack. Now this is the general memory map of the registers. As we can see, FFH, the top layer is specially allocated for the special function register. So 256 bytes are allocated, and then another 32 registers are allocated for general purpose registers, and then RAM space, and then reserved space, and then mirror area, data flash memory, and again reserved space, and then again for SFR 2 kilobytes are allocated. Thank you, and here are my references. Hi guys, now we are going to discuss about the Arduino Mega 2560 microcontroller. Now let's see each and every part. This is the power jack. You can connect this from here, this port, the port here, to our computer, to a USB computer. This is the power jack. Here this part is the oscillator. Here this Arduino Mega 2560 has a clock of 16 megahertz. This is the processor. This is the Atmega 2560 processor. Here Atmega 2560 processor. Here Arduino board provides a reset button. If we can push means like we can rerun the program. That's what it means. If we have to stop a program, we can push the restart button like that. Reset button, sorry. So here this pin is a 3.3 volt pin, 5 volt pin, ground pin, and voltage input. So these are the powers. So from this 5 volt pin, we can take input, and we have connected, and we can connect give this type of input to other circuits in our breadboard. So A0 to A7, this is the analog pin. If we have 15 analog pins actually, A0 to A16, A0 to A15. This is the analog pin. So you can read analog values as well, continuous waveform like values. and it has digital pins from 13 to up to 53. Oh, it has that much digital pins actually. So for a pulse width modulation we have to use this row. For PWM pins we have to use this row, and in this row we can see here TX0, RX0, transmitter, receiver 1. We can use it as a serial port there. Then 14, 15, 16 for third type of transmitter, second transmitter, first transmitter, like that. So we can use nearly 1, 2, 3, 4 types of transmit receive communication at a simultaneous time. Thank you. Hi guys, what we are seeing now is a 16 x 2 LCD display. It has 16 pins actually. The display is of 16 pixels and 2 rows. That's why we call it a 16 x 2. At the back side of this we have the pin configuration. First one is VSS, second pin is VCC, third one is VEE, fourth one RS, like that. Every configurations. So what we can do with this LCD display is, if we configure this with the Arduino board, we can write a code and we can write any values within this LCD display, whatever we wish to mint. Like we have seen in the buses, our transportation buses, each and every bus has a backside a big display where each characters go move forward, right? So it's like that. Basic example. That is a basic application for this LCD display. Here what we are seeing is the PIR sensor, passive infrared sensor. This sensor is different from IR sensor. Like it captures the image. It also sends out the IR signal, and it views and it senses the thermal variations in its field of view. Like what to say, it constantly emits some IR radiation. Okay, now if we keep our hand closer, so IR radiation gets scattered, and there's due to a thermal variation in our body. So that type of thermal detection it does, and we can use it to trigger a circuit for alarm circuits, like that, etc. Thank you. Yeah. Hi guys. We have connected the Arduino Mega 2560 microcontroller to an IR sensor. So this is the IR sensor. It has two LEDs at the top. One is for transmitting IR signals and one is for receiving IR signals. See, what happens is that when my hand goes to the top, IR signal gets reflected back from my hand and is directed back at the LED, at that another LED. So when it's directed, it means that an object is above the IR sensor. It means that an object is detected, and we have connected an LED to the microcontroller. So whenever an object is detected, the LED glows. So this type of circuit is implemented. Now let's just take the IR sensor, the top. As you can see now, this is the IR sensor. The black one is the emitter, and the white LED is the receiver. So it has 3 pins: out, ground, and VCC. The out pin is actually connected to the. This is the out wire. Output is connected to number 2, and then the LED is connected to number 13. So now we are going to see the code part, where you can see that int IR sensor equal to 2, which is the sensor pin is connected to pin 2, and LED is equal to 13. We have connected the LED to the 13th pin of the Arduino. Void setup, pin mode, IR sensor, input. So we're receiving input from IR sensor, and we are going to show output as in an LED. So in loop, void loop we have to declare, and we are declaring status sensor is equal to digital read of IR sensor. What is digital read is that it reads the IR sensor value, the signal, as a digital signal. So it's either 1 or 0. So if status sensor is 1, which means high, now we are going to write the LED as a low, because like if it's 1 means it does not actually receive. There's no object there. So if there is 0 means then the object gets reflected, the signal gets reflected, and we are going to write it as LED high. This is the practical implementation of a IR sensor. IR sensor has various applications. We can use them to include light switches, phones, doorbells, etc., and many other applications